It's a time of year where everyone and their dog is offering a Black Friday deal. But how many of those are actual deals? Well, in this video, we'll be scouring the internet and finding these so-called deals and comparing them with regular market prices for said items. By regular marketplace, I mean Gigi. Alright, so first off, we'll be looking at smartphones. It's a good time of the year to replace a smartphone, upgrade, or gift someone. So let's see if you can actually get a good deal. Right, so starting off in Jumia, looking for smartphones. In the top deals section, we have a lot of Technos, all at different prices already. Let's go for the cheapest one, the Techno Spark 10C. Says it's regularly 600,000 down to 477,000. Let's see what the rest of the internet has to say about that. And as you can see, there are already a bunch of examples that are way below the so-called deal price. This is a bad deal. You're getting ripped off. Going back to the main deals page, I can't help but notice there is the iPhone deals. And here you have an iPhone 14 Pro Max. Let's see what storage it has. So it's 256 GB. It's going for 5.5 million, down from 6.2-ish. I don't even need to check elsewhere online, but just for the sake of this video, let's see what the rest have. And again, just in the top row of the results, you can already see that we have an identical example going for 500,000 less. It's not looking good for Black Friday right now. Anyway, moving on. One more phone, then we move on to the next item. Let's see what deals they claim to have for Samsung on this website. The A14 seems like a good pick. Says it's normally 500. This is awkward. It says 640,000 as a Black Friday deal. Doesn't say how much has been slashed off on this page at least. Let's see what you can find on Gigi. Okay, so this one is a bit tougher to judge. From what I can gather, it's around the same price. It's not exactly overpriced, it's just hovering around the usual price, because all examples I can see are either used, and the new ones are actually quite a bit more expensive on Gigi, although Gigi sellers usually mark up higher than that. So this one is a maybe. Moving on to TVs. It's a great time to get a TV. Change that old one, maybe get a bigger screen. So let's see what you can get. It's the Skyward 32-inch frameless TV. I don't really know the name of it, but let's check it out elsewhere. Okay, so one search result on Gigi that came up higher than what they listed. So this is a deal. I would advise against buying this particular TV though. If you can afford to buy something else, definitely do. Let's look at what Hisense is a popular brand. Let's look at what they are selling for. The 40-inch one specifically is a very popular one. So this one says it's down to 677k from 780. It's the full HD, not the 4K one. So let's see what Gigi has to say about this. Again, second time, seems to be a legitimate deal. If you're watching this sometime in the future, there's a time on this deal and you're probably not going to get the same price, but so far so good with TVs. Right, one more TV and then we move on. Oh, one more thing before we move on. If you're looking for a deal, it might be a very good idea to take your time and scroll through the entire catalog. Here's an example of why that is. So just the TV that we saw that was at a relatively good price, it has an identical version of it just seated below, which is at seemingly regular price. So watch out for such tricks. Anyway, enough of TVs. Let's move on to the next category, which is laptops. Okay, this one I'm going to do something slightly different in that I know a lot of these laptop brands and I can easily tell from the specs how much it should cost. So instead of assessing whether the price is good, I'm going to be assessing whether it's a good deal. It might be a good price, but should you buy it? All right, let's start with this EliteBook. It's going for 768,000. They say it is refurbished. So you get a Core i5. They don't say which generation it is. At least I don't see that anywhere. But it's got 8 GB RAM and 1 TB of a hard disk drive. So not an SSD. These back in the day were actually a good buy. I'm not sure if they still are today. Technology has advanced. For 768,000, I would shortlist this one. Next, let's look at this Dell Latitude. It's got 4 GB RAM, a 500 gig hard drive, and it's going for 500,000. This one I would say avoid. It's a bad deal, but depending on what you're doing, if you're just someone who browses and processes Word documents, this will probably be fine for you as long as you don't use Google Chrome or any other heavy tasks. 4 GB RAM is not ideal. I would go ahead and buy extra RAM, which should be cheap. It should add about 50 to 80,000 to the price of this. In that case, it's not a terrible deal. If you're throwing a SATA SSD, it might take it up to 800, 900, and at that point that is a usable computer, but you're probably better off looking for a deal elsewhere. Something with a newer processor would suit you better. All right, let's look at the new laptops. Okay, so next we have this HP Pavilion. It's a 14-inch 12th gen i5, so that's good. It says it's supposed to be 2.7, almost 2.8 million, down from 4 million. Let's see what Gigi has to say about that deal. There are a few examples floating around. You have this, which is a 360 Pavilion. It's a touchscreen and it's 11th gen, and it has a smaller SSD, also brand new, and not much else. There's this example, which is a 10th gen 512 SSD and 8 GB of RAM. This one is a bit more challenging because of the difference in specs. On the one hand, you have newer hardware, decent storage, and excellent RAM, whereas these ones are slightly older. Some have less RAM, actually all have less RAM, and some even have less storage. So I'm going to give this one a pass. I'd say shortlist this option. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave it there because if we went through all the items, we'd be here forever. But I will leave you with these tips. The best Black Friday deals are often found out there physically. So you want to go into town and compare prices, haggle if you have to. You'll find that you get a much better deal by talking to someone face to face than looking at numbers on a screen. And here's the final pro Black Friday tip. Don't buy anything right now. Wait until after the festive season and then go into town physically to look for whatever item you want to get. Of course, you have to survive not spending the money you'd saved for it. But if you do, and you do go into town next year in January, say in the middle of January, you are likely to get a much better deal than someone buying an item right now. Anyway, that's been it for this video. Let me know what's on your wish list this Black Friday, what you're looking to get, and tell me some of your crazy Black Friday stories.